right, I'm going to share my screen and then we'll start talking on how we are unfucking our businesses with turning potential clients into raving fans, and what does that process look like? Some things to consider. So just give me a second here. I'll bring up the screen. Okay, so as I said, we're going to talk on turning potential clients into raving fans, and ultimately that really makes it to where you have a great referral business. Obviously doing marketing and bringing in leads and qualifying them through different sources, which we'll talk on, is important, but having people come through referrals is really one of the easiest closed businesses and leads to work, because most of the time that review, that testimony of somebody that's been through exactly what they're going through and your service or product solve that issue is really a fairly easy deal to lay down at that point. So some things to talk on this topic. I am going to be speaking at Investor Fuel Live 2024 here in October 7th through the 9th in Grapevine, Texas. Typically 100, 200 over in that range. People get together down there, and there will be 15 speakers speaking on different things that they're kind of industry experts in. This one will specifically be around real estate investors, agents, kind of buying, selling houses, things of that nature. If that's something that's of interest to you, I've got a couple tickets, and you can reach out, either shoot a comment here, or I'll give some contact information when I'm talking through at the end. Can reach out, and if it makes sense for you to come into the event, I've got a couple tickets. We can talk about that. So with that said, no further ado, that will be again October 7th through the 9th, Grapevine, Texas, Investor Fuel. And then from the topics that I'm covering right now, this will be I would say, abbreviated version of what I'll cover when I'm speaking down there. So typically speakers are speaking somewhere between an hour or a little bit more than an hour, depending. But this is something that you can implement in any type of small business. And if you have kind of these simple things implemented, it'll make it to where your business can obviously convert some potential prospects and turn your marketing into a bit easier of a sales process. So a lot of times when you have a small business, you have prospects that are, reviewing, perusing your online social media, your websites. You might have paid online ads. You might be reaching out to people with calling, texting, etc., or even maybe sending out direct mail pieces to people that you've gotten from lists, or they've given you their contact information in the past. And then obviously you have your organic referrals, testimonials, people coming in that way, and then SEO, search engine optimization, which is typically just people searching browsers such as Google, Bing, etc., finding your website, coming over, and either scheduling or purchasing, your product or service. So for the real estate industry, a lot of times we are, purchasing lists of people that make sense for us to reach out, that they might have a problem that needs to be solved. And so I'll talk through kind of what this looked like when we were wholesaling, flipping, running brokerage. I now do the software side of things and providing these systems for people for their small business, and showing them how to bring in those prospects, qualify them, have a sales process, run them through that sales process, and then at the back end, turn them into a raving fan. And so we'll kind of talk through that a little bit, but that works across any business, right? Any small business, any business in general has got to be able to grab prospects, leads, and then be able to convert them into a sale based off of what you provide. Now, on the real estate side of things, something I'm really familiar with, did it for over 5+ years. Pull a list, take that list, skip trace it, get phone numbers, and then do your calling, texting, ringless voicemails, and then you already have from that list an address to be able to send direct mail, and you can do pay-per-click based off of them maybe coming to the website, retargets, things of that nature. For a real estate type list, a lot of times you're doing things like, hey, we got to figure out who our ideal client is. Now, our ideal client for real estate side of things, as you can see here, kind of this number one is, typically somebody that is wanting to move and sell their property. Now, it doesn't always have to be their personal property that they live in. Sometimes it can be something where it's their second home. It was a rental property. Maybe they have not paid mortgage on time. They've had to evict a rental person or a tenant. Might be vacant. They might have inherited it. They've had it for maybe 10, 20 plus years, and it's just a second home to them. High equity, probably could do a deal there. Not paying maybe water, so you can get water shutoffs at some locations. You can get the tax defaults, pre-foreclosures, lis pendens. You might be driving for dollars, being able to see that their grass is high, trash hasn't been taken out in a bunch of weeks, things of that nature. All of these people are probably in our ideal client situation or scenario. Then it becomes a question of how do we contact them, whether it's direct response, paid ads, door knocking, sending flyers, things of that nature. That is a lot of times dependent on what kind of time or money you have, or both, and then making determinations what makes the most sense for you, your team, if you have one, and then sending out that marketing. Now, long term, we're trying to get to a point where we close some deals, we close a product or service, and we have testimonials, reviews, video testimonials is the number one, Google reviews, and then just potential written reviews that we can use to not only put on our website, but on our paid ads or marketing, our flyers that we're putting out, things of that nature, of other people that were just like them, that have experienced this, done business with you, and had a great experience with it. So that is what you're trying to get to, is get those testimonials. If you don't have those right now, obviously we got to work to get those. But once you have those should be in front. Those should be your frontline marketing that you're doing, and putting people out there that are just like your ideal client. Where do they hang out? So, dependent on what it is that you're selling, product or service, you need to know where they are, what their interests are. Things like when you're doing the paid ads, things of that nature. You might need to think about, hey, do they hunt? Do they fish? Do they like to go to organic stores? Do they go to the gym? What type of people align with what you're selling? And then obviously you can then put the paid ads around those types of people, those interests, on a lot of the different platforms, such as Facebook with their audiences, maybe TikTok or Instagram, which brings up another point. Is your ideal client somebody that's, 18 to 24? Is it somebody 24 to 36, 36 to 50? Or is it a broader range than that? But, based on that, you might know what social media platforms that you want to be on or not be on based off of who kind of fits those needs. What problem do they have that they're looking to solve? And a lot of times you're looking for some type of an emotionally charged problem that they might have. So if they are, inheriting a property, they live 2,000 miles away, they don't have rentals, they don't want to be a landlord. That's kind of their emotional problem, is maybe they've lost a loved one, number one. And number two, they've now got a property that they've got to deal with and sell and maybe split with brothers, sisters, whatever that looks like. How do you solve that problem? How do you alleviate their stress, their pain, their problems? And then start to figure out things like, what does that look like? Picture perfect for you. What's your timeline? So is this something that you want to do in the next, 30 days or less? Is this something that's going to be over the next 90 days? Figure out what that solution looks like for them in their head, and then kind of align what you offer if it makes sense. You're not trying to be everybody's solution, but if what they're asking for is something that you provide and you feel like you're the industry expert in kind of those areas, how do you align with that? How do you solve their problem? And then number 4 here, how do you solve that in a very easy to follow 3-step process, but no more than 5 steps? Keep it really simple. This should align with your marketing. So your websites, your funnels, your landing pages, your emails, your direct mail pieces, maybe even if you're doing signs or vehicles, wrap, things of those natures. I would highly suggest that you have this simple 3-step process on those marketing platforms, so that you can align with people that are looking for their problem to be solved. And especially if it is something where they're driving by it, seeing it, things of that nature, or a mailer where they're quickly seeing it and having to make a decision of, is this something that I need to continue to read or not? Make it super simple, make it in their face, color wise. Think about those types of things that it catches their attention on how you're going to solve that and what that looks like in a very simple 3 to 5 step process. Number 5, what does that look like? What will it provide emotionally for them, and what does that outcome then achieve for them? So, does that alleviate stress? Does that get money in their pocket? Does that allow them to pay off some debt? Does that allow them to move on and be able to kind of go on with their life and figure out the next steps, the next chapter? Is that what they're looking for? Figure that out. You really need to dig into that, figure out what it is that they're trying to get to. A lot of times with things like this, if it is something that is causing stress and emotions and things of that nature, if you solve the problem, price becomes less important. I personally do not ever want to be the Walmart or Sam's Club, the lowest price, if you will, and we're going to beat anybody's price around. And when we provide a product or service, it's literally a race to the bottom. I never want to be that person. I want to be able to provide a product or service, but I'm at the same time a small business, and I do have to make a profit and be willing and open to, say that, admit to that of, this is where we're at. I absolutely would love to help you. We've helped people just like you. This is some of the testimonials and reviews of people that we've helped. Point them to those directions. You can have sometimes either on like an iPad or a printed out binder of people kind of, hey, when we come through this is some of the steps that we're going to take. This is timelines that it can take. Here are some of the things that you might need to think about. You may not know of problems that are going to arise because it's the first time you've ever been through it, but here are some of the problems that others have mentioned and brought up and how we work through it and how we're different from some of the other providers out there. When you start to kind of bring that type of stuff up and tell them what that looks like in solving their problem, obviously now they're thinking about a solution and that you can provide it. Be that expert for them, that industry expert. The things that I brought up around real estate, buying, selling, etc. Sometimes people have things like, I am going to need to move. Do you have a moving company that can help me? I physically can't do it. Do you have any movers that you would recommend? I might need a real estate attorney to complete the transaction if we're dealing with brothers, sisters, etc., things of that nature. If we have a bunch of stuff in the house that we don't want to keep, we might need to have somebody come in and clean out the house or do a dumpster, things of that nature. How do we solve the different problems that you may have at this point in time, listening to what they're telling you, and how can we get to that end goal that they're looking for? Now, once you've done all that stuff and you've been able to kind of come to an agreement, you've got, that verbal commitment, that written commitment, that what you provide is going to answer their issue that they have. And you kind of tell them, okay, does it make sense at this point to move forward? What does that look like? Do I have your commitment? All right. Maybe that requires a contract signed. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Depends on what you're providing. And now, what are the steps to go ahead and proceed forward? What are the timelines? And what does it look like to communicate moving forward? So if something pops up, if you have questions, who do you contact? How do you get a hold of us? What's turnaround times? Set those expectations so they're not left in the dark. When you start to have to wonder what's going on and you're not getting communication, that's where stuff breaks down. And then it becomes very difficult to have that raving fan review or testimonial at the end because they feel like you kind of just left them in the dark and then magically you maybe closed the deal or you didn't and it fell apart. And that's never good either, right? So some things to think about there. Getting the testimonials. With some of the systems that we provide, we can send out those requests via email, via text, things of that nature. But you can also obviously provide it through like the QR codes, having them scan it that way. If you're in person closing the deal, obviously you could always get it recorded on a phone, on a camera, etc. Video testimonials are by far the number one. We go so much as saying, hey, we'll offer you $250, $500 gift card. Maybe have something where they like to go out to eat somewhere or whatever. Give them something in return for their time to give that testimonial. Google review, by all means, if you can get a Google review and it's either or both, good thing there. Google review, if they're searching or somebody's searching where you are physically located because of the reviews and the map pack and things like that come with Google, you are more likely to be on the top results or upper results if you have better reviews. So you definitely want to have the reviews, have those testimonials. Part of the stuff that we provide is you can have those reviews automatically pop up on your website. And as soon as new reviews are provided, it pops up. We can have we can set it to where AI responds to it. I highly recommend that you personally respond to them. I wouldn't do the AI stuff. That's just my personal opinion. Make it an actual personalized response. Like, these people have gone out of their way to give you your time, or their time, I should say, and give a review. Give something personalized back. And that brings up a good point with the stuff. When they're doing these Google reviews, written reviews, Google video testimonials, the big thing around this is a lot of businesses struggle with getting some of this stuff towards the end. They're just struggling to get the sale, and they're on to the next. And they're forgetting about asking for the reviews and things of that nature. It's important, if you showed expectations and a sales process and what does it look like, and you delivered, get those reviews, because that's going to be something that you can then use in your marketing, which is number 7. When you're sending out those direct mail pieces, when you've got your website, when you've got your testimonial videos on YouTube, your social media, things of that nature, you're going to start getting referrals from that stuff. That is a lot easier to sell that product or service, because they've seen other people that look like them, act like them, had problems like them, and they've been able to be shown or explained why it makes sense to work with you. So, when you're telling somebody that you care, this is one of those big important things. People can tell when you actually care. You can tell them all day that you care, but if you go there, do the appointment, get the agreement, sign the contract, and then they never hear from you until closing day, and you just close, and they felt like they were left in the dark, you didn't show that you actually cared. It's not just a lip service. It's a full, from start to finish. They know, like, and trust you, and they're coming through for that journey of, hey, when you work with us, this is how we get you from start to finish, walk you all the way through, communicate all the way through, and then at the end, obviously, get the testimony, get the review. And if we have any issues, or there's other things that pop up after everything's been done, you can always reach out to us. We're here, and if you've been around for a while, that's another thing I would bring up. We've been open for a decade. We've been open for, 20 years, whatever that looks like. If that is something that is true to you and your business, that needs to be brought up, because there's some confidence that you're going to be around if they need you again, if their family needs you, or if a friend maybe needs your product or service later down the road. Those are things to bring up. So really just some things that wanted to touch briefly on. Again, Investor Fuel Live, October 7th through the 9th. I will be out there speaking, Grapevine, Texas. If you are looking for a ticket, reach out, let's talk, see if that makes sense for you to come out there and be a part of that. Like I said, there'll be about 15 or so that are speaking. If you want to reach out to me and schedule time to talk, you can click the link that'll be in the description below. There's 15-minute slots. The first 15-minute call with me is absolutely free. We'll chat on what you got going on. We'll chat and see if it makes sense to work together. If nothing else, maybe I can point you in the right direction for certain resources, certain things that you can use in your business. If you have questions around this stuff, you can either obviously leave a comment on the video, which would be great. Otherwise, reach out to us, text us, 262-300-8228. You can send us a text with a question there. We will respond with a video explaining kind of our solution or answer to that. And obviously, you're helping us with creating content, but we're also helping you with getting an answer. So reach out there. If you'd like to see some of the stuff that we provide, if you go over to unfuckyourbusiness.com, there will be testimonial reviews on that landing page. There will be the website. And again, the scheduling link is over there as well. So let us know how we can help, and we'll see you on the next one.